So I got the gold iPhone XS right here. I'm kidding, it's just a case. It's the iPhone X, which by the way, was discontinued from the lineup today. It seems like they didn't really say it was in the lineup when they were mentioning pricing. But today I wanna react to the XS, the XS Max, and the XR. Man, and the Apple Watch Series 4, we'll talk about that later. Not gonna talk too much about that, but what an event today. I mean, they really just laid on a whole bunch of products, a bunch of information, but if you really think closely about it, I don't know how innovative this event really was. And today I want to discuss some things that you might not have picked up on if you didn't closely analyze what actually happened here. So the first thing I want to discuss just slightly is the Apple Watch Series 4. It's got a new design, a little bit more screen, like 30% or something like that. But the real nice feature to this new watch is the fact that you can get it with the ECG feature, which is the first ever for an Apple Watch and basically any watch on the market approved by the FDA. This is really going to help you to analyze heart information that can never before be done on an Apple Watch. So this is huge if you really want to monitor your heart and make sure that you don't, have heart issues. You can send it to your doctor. This is game changing if you're into, doing all that health tracking and stuff like that. So the Apple Watch Series 4 also did get a price increase. If you think about last year launching at $329, Apple raised the price again on this product to $399 to start and $499. And then they talked about how they lowered Series 3, but Series 2, I believe it was last year, was cheaper than Series 3, even with its discount. So everything at this event seemed to go up in price. So overall, my reactions to the Apple Watch Series 4, I got the Series 3 right here, are besides that new heart feature, I'm not really, crazy about it. I mean, it's kind of like, they were teasing you with the Apple Watch first before what you were really there to see, and that is the iPhone that we're going to be announced today, the iPhone XS, XS Max, XR. With that being said, getting on to the iPhone XS, the XS Max, and the XR, we're going to begin with the iPhone XS. So they came on stage, they said, here's a new iPhone, showed a video. You've seen both of the large ones there before they even talked about the iPhone XS Max. And the XS is basically replacing this one right here, the iPhone X, that seemingly is out of the lineup now. And it's going to be the same price, starting at 64 gigs, $1,000, and it's going to go up from there. It now has a 512 gigabyte option, a A12 Bionic chipset. They didn't mention much about the RAM on this phone, but I'm sure it's a similar 3 or 4 gigabytes of RAM here. So the performance, 50% faster than the A11. This is a massive improvement on the processor, but the fact of the matter is I don't think people are really asking too much for a speed increase. I think what we really wanted to see is maybe a notch decrease, a little bit smaller on the notch, a second gen Face ID, but it seems like what we got was a slightly improved Face ID. It's not a full redesign, it's not Face ID second generation. It's just they improved some algorithms and things in the Face ID that is going to make it just a little bit faster than before, but I don't see it being like crazy faster than the iPhone X. Now, they do have the new gold color option, which I think a lot of people who wanted the gold last year are going to really appreciate, because this gold option is definitely kind of what they did with the iPhone 5S years ago. They brought out the iPhone 5 with silver and black. Then they came with the 5S, which was basically the same looking phone. They're doing this again, and they bring the gold option. So those people who like to show off their phone and really like a really fancy looking phone, you're really gonna like this gold model of the iPhone. That's basically the XS. It has a dual camera that essentially is not that much different, and this was kind of disappointing too, because Apple touted how they're gonna have smart HDR, which is going to analyze the situation, talking about that's kind of like a Pixel feature like the Google Pixel 2 had with its HDR algorithm. So essentially your pictures are going to get better. You're not going to have to do as much work to get the right exposure, the right detail, the right highlights and shadows, but you don't have any hardware advancements like a 1-inch sensor, which is basically what I've been wanting to see on an iPhone forever, and you don't have that still. It's still going to be a smartphone sensor, so whether you have all these beautiful, highlights and details, you're still not going to have the sharpness of a camera like the Sony RX100, for example, which would really, if you bring a 1-inch sensor to an iPhone, you're going to really take out the point and shoot market. So this camera to me is going to be better, but not mind-blowingly better than prior cameras. So another thing that came is the 512 gigabyte option. For me, I think that's overkill. I think 256 gig is enough for most people. There's gonna be a niche crowd that really does need 512 gig, and people who don't wanna use cloud storage for nothing, they're like, I'm not putting nothing on the internet. You're gonna like that option as well. But I think that, you know, 256 gigs was already enough. The 512 gig is gonna push that phone up like 300 bucks. So you're gonna be paying a high premium to get that maxed out model, but I'm sure many people will do it. I'm just saying that this is not something that was like, oh my God, this is an amazing new feature because it's got 512 gigs. I don't think that's a mind-blowing announcement for this event. So everything I just talked about for the XS is basically the same on the XS Max. And when I seen the XS Max, I was like, yes, because I wanted to see that phone last year, but they pulled that move where they're gonna have the small one year, so they have something else to sell this year. Good on them, great marketing. You know, they could have brought it last year if they want. Samsung brought S8, S8 Plus. Why can't you bring iPhone 10, iPhone 10 Plus last year? But they changed the name to Max, 6.5-inch Super Retina display, so it's going to be a little bit bigger than the Samsung Galaxy Note 9, but considering that body size, the phone's actually going to feel smaller than a Note 9. It's going to feel more like an iPhone 8 Plus. So this year, having a big screen and a more manageable size is a great thing for new iPhone buyers. But overall, the iPhone XS Max to me is just a kind of blown up iPhone 10 with a little bit faster speed and a slightly better camera. So I do like what I see with the iPhone XS Max. That's the one that I'm really going to probably be daily driving when it comes to the iPhone. And let me react to the iPhone XR, because this one, as people were rumoring that it's going to be delayed, you know, coming to get to pre-order, it definitely is. So you're not going to be able to get this one to October 19th, goes available October 26th. This is the one that, if you look closely, it's actually not as great of a deal as you think because of this factor. So you look at the design and you're like, that looks just like an iPhone 10, but it's $250 cheaper. But you got to think about the fact that it's actually more of an iPhone 8 replacement. It has an LCD screen, which they touted the most accurate LCD. Of course it is. You know, the iPhone 8 Plus, the 8 had great LCD colors. They're very accurate. They've always been that way. 326 pixels per inch gets you the same exact sharpness as an iPhone 8. You will have multiple colors, which will appeal to a lot of people. So I do give them a thumbs up for that. That reminds us of the iPhone C days, 5C days. But this iPhone actually goes up in price from the iPhone 8, has a single camera, goes to $750 to start at 64 gigabytes. So you actually have an iPhone 8 replacement that goes up in the price point. Now, yes, you go up in design if you do like the new design, but not everybody likes the new iPhone 10 design. The notch didn't shrink, it's basically the same size. So really, everything this year actually either stayed the same or got a little bit more when it comes to how much you're gonna have to pay to get these phones. However, all of them should have wireless charging, and IP68 is nice to see on these devices because that's a lot more waterproof than water-resistant IP67. Now, neither are fully waterproof, but you can definitely take more abuse on an iPhone with IP68. So that was a really nice announcement there. So quickly going back to the cameras, I thought it was funny how the crowd got all wooed and really excited about the fact that you can change the background blur on your portrait mode photos. Like, they didn't just steal this feature from Samsung like they pretty much always do. Apple always takes features that other companies have already done and tries to make them better. Now, I'm sure that it's going to be a little bit, you know, more smooth and better to operate because they're really good at doing this, taking a feature and, you know, implementing it a little bit better for their platform. And I like that we seeing it come into these phones. But it was just funny how the crowd was just like, oh my God, like did you ever try a Note 8, an S9 Plus, or a Note 9? They've had that feature for the longest time already. So overall, I think it was a pretty good day for Apple. They're bringing all new products here that are gonna really bring the notch to society. Welcome to the notch society. There's gonna be notches everywhere in your face within a year or so when everybody trades in their old iPhones and upgrades to these new ones. But what everybody was hoping for was price decreases. It wasn't a really big price decrease. The only one that might seem on the surface to be a price decrease is the iPhone XR. And if they actually are not going to be bringing the iPhone 10 back, which should have saw a price decrease, then you kind of don't get the dual camera, you don't get the OLED screen. So it's kind of tricky proposition there. And speaking of a tricky proposition, this is one of the most confusing years ever. Now you have an iPhone 7 really cheap, great processor, A10, iPhone 8 gets cheaper. You have the iPhone XR, the XS, XS Max. Good luck to the Apple salesmen who have to talk to these people who are going to be super confused as to which one is going to be better for them, because they're basically all iOS, they're basically all fast, and you're really going to have to sell people on color options, screen size options, and things of that sort. So I'm going to be having all these iPhones on the channel, so you might want to stay tuned to see all of the comparisons. I might skip the small XS. I don't think a lot of people are super interested in that, but if you guys want to see that one, let me know down below in the comments. So as a final conclusion to this reaction is, yes, I'm excited about the XS Max, and I'm happy that Apple is continuing to, you know, at least push the vision of what they said last year when they said the iPhone X is the iPhone of the future, because they really are bringing it now to the masses in multiple different configurations. I think people who wanted cheaper devices now have better, cheaper options in the iPhone 7 and 8. But if you were looking for getting like an iPhone X design at a super cheap price, the iPhone XR, the model you really want, the 128 gig or the 256 gig, is gonna push you close to $1,000 if you get AppleCare and stuff like that. So none of these iPhones really fall in that, what I think everybody wanted was like that $699 price, and good luck competing with OnePlus, because those phones are still gonna be just as powerful and a lot cheaper than even the iPhone XR. And that's my take on it. That's the iPhone XS, XS Max, XR reaction video. I would love to hear what you guys think about what happened today at today's event. Are you picking up the XR, the XS, the XS Max? And be subscribed so you don't miss all of my comparisons. We're gonna have the content coming as fast as possible. I'm gonna really dissect and dive in, because it's gonna be so confusing to see which iPhones to get this year. And I know a lot of you are gonna wanna see the last year iPhones again to see if now those are worth it at cheaper prices. So we got a bunch of content coming. We're finishing up Note 9 stuff as well. I thank you very much for watching. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well. I will catch you all in the next episode, and peace.